Have you ever wondered what would happen if Earth had zero gravity? Imagine a world where the concept of up and down is completely obliterated. That's the world we are about to dive in. But before we get there, let's understand what keeps us grounded, literally. We're talking about gravity, a force that, despite being invisible, has a massive impact on our daily lives. Gravity, as we know it, is a fundamental force that pulls us towards the Earth. But who discovered this invisible yet vital force? The credit goes to the 17th century physicist Sir Isaac Newton. The story goes that he was sitting under an apple tree when an apple fell on his head. This incident sparked a thought. Why did the apple fall straight down and not go sideways or upwards? The answer, he concluded, was gravity, a force that pulls objects towards each other. In the context of our planet, Earth's gravity pulls everything towards its center. This force is so powerful that it shapes the planet into a sphere, keeps the oceans in place, and even influences the Earth's rotation. It's gravity that gives weight to physical objects and causes the tides in our oceans. But what if this force suddenly disappeared? What if Earth had zero gravity? Well, the results would be nothing short of catastrophic. Without gravity, we wouldn't be walking. We'd be floating. Mountains, trees, buildings, even the oceans would float off into space. The Earth itself, no longer held together by gravity, might start to break apart. Gravity is not just a force, it's the glue that holds our world together. It's the silent puppeteer that controls our actions, our movements, and even the way our planet functions. Now that we understand what gravity is, let's delve into a world where it doesn't exist. Zero gravity, a concept that seems straight out of a science fiction novel, isn't as far-fetched as you might think. Let's dive into the concept of zero gravity. It's a term we often hear in relation to space travel and astronauts floating around in their spacecraft. But what does it mean? Essentially, zero gravity, also known as weightlessness, is a condition in which there is no force of gravity acting on a body. It's as if the pull of gravity disappears. In reality, gravity is always at work. Even in the farthest corners of our universe, the gravitational pull of distant stars and galaxies tugs at everything. So when we talk about zero gravity, we're actually referring to a state of freefall. Imagine you're in an elevator and suddenly the cable snaps. For a few terrifying moments, you and the elevator are falling at the same rate. You would feel weightless, like you're floating, even though you're actually hurtling downward. This is the experience astronauts have when they're in orbit. They're falling towards Earth, yes, really, but they're also moving forward fast enough that they keep missing it. So they end up in a constant state of free fall, which we perceive as zero gravity. Now, you might be wondering, under what conditions can zero gravity occur? Well, theoretically, if you could get far enough away from all sources of gravity, stars, planets, galaxies, you might experience zero gravity. But in practical terms, we create conditions of zero gravity in specific environments like the International Space Station or during parabolic flight, often referred to as the vomit comet, where an aircraft is flown in a special parabolic trajectory to create the illusion of weightlessness. So zero gravity isn't about being beyond the reach of gravity, it's about falling endlessly. It's a fascinating and complex concept, a dance between velocity and gravity, a delicate equilibrium that creates a world where up is down and down is up. So in a world without gravity, how would life on Earth change? Let's explore that in the next scene. Picture this, you wake up one morning and everything around you is floating. Imagine the chaos that would ensue if Earth suddenly lost all its gravity. Our bodies, our environment, and our entire way of life would be turned upside down, quite literally. Let's explore the surreal and somewhat terrifying world of zero gravity on Earth. Firstly, let's talk about our bodies. Our bodies have evolved over millions of years to thrive in a world with gravity. Our bones provide structure, our muscles allow us to move, and our blood circulates thanks to the constant pull of gravity. But without gravity, all of this would change drastically. Our bones would lose their density, our muscles would atrophy, and our blood circulation would be impaired. We'd essentially become weak, fragile beings, unable to function as we currently do. Our environment would also undergo dramatic changes. Trees, plants, soil, water, everything that's not anchored down would start floating around. Imagine oceans and rivers lifting off the surface of the Earth, trees uprooting and floating aimlessly, and mountains crumbling as the force holding them together disappears. The Earth's atmosphere, no longer held in place by gravity, would dissipate into space, leaving us without air to breathe. The way we live our lives would also be completely disrupted. Our homes, cars, and all other objects we use daily would start floating. Basic tasks like eating, drinking, or even walking would become incredibly challenging. Infrastructure would crumble, transportation would be impossible, and the entire economy would collapse. But it's not all bad news. Without gravity, we'd also gain some unique abilities. We could fly, or rather float, around. We could push off from one side of a room and float to the other. We could even do somersaults in mid-air without any fear of falling and hurting ourselves. However, these minor benefits would be far outweighed by the catastrophic consequences. Life as we know it would cease to exist, and Earth would become a barren, inhospitable place. Of course, this is all hypothetical. The chances of Earth's gravity disappearing suddenly are virtually zero. But it's interesting to think about how much we take gravity for granted and how integral it is to our existence. In essence, gravity is the invisible force that holds our world together. It shapes our bodies, our environment, and our lives in ways we don't often appreciate. It's a fundamental part of our existence that we often overlook, but without it, life as we know it would be impossible. But the effects of zero gravity aren't just confined to Earth. Without gravity, Earth wouldn't be the only thing affected. Let's take a moment to contemplate the unimaginable. A universe where the Earth, our dear home, exists without gravity. It's not just our blue planet that would feel the absence of this fundamental force. The effects would ripple out, touching everything from our neighboring planets to the far reaches of the cosmos. Imagine our solar system, a cosmic ballet choreographed by gravity. It's not just about keeping our feet on the ground. Gravity is the glue that holds the solar system together. The sun, with its immense mass, exerts a gravitational pull on the planets, including Earth, keeping us in our beautiful, predictable orbits. Without gravity, this cosmic dance would come undone. Planets would drift away from the sun, wandering aimlessly through the void of space. Now let's expand our perspective even further and consider the galaxy we reside in, the Milky Way. This vast spiral of stars, planets, and cosmic dust is also held together by gravity. Without it, our galaxy would lose its structure, transforming from a spinning spiral into a chaotic cloud of cosmic debris. Gravity doesn't stop at the borders of our galaxy. It plays a crucial role in the grand architecture of the universe. The galaxies, those vast islands of stars, are not randomly scattered across the cosmos. Instead, they are woven into a cosmic web, a structure of filaments and voids. This web, this universal structure, owes its existence to gravity. Without gravity, there would be no cosmic web, no structure to the universe. But gravity's influence extends even beyond the visible universe. It is believed to be the driving force behind the expansion of the universe itself. In a zero-gravity scenario, this expansion could potentially come to a halt, freezing the universe in its current state forever. And consider the stars, those twinkling points of light that fill our night sky. Stars owe their very existence to gravity. It's the force that pulls together clouds of gas and dust, compressing them until the pressure and temperature are high enough for nuclear fusion to ignite, giving birth to a star. Without gravity, there would be no stars, no supernovae, no black holes. The universe would be a much darker and less dynamic place. It's clear that gravity, this seemingly simple force that keeps our coffee in our cups and our feet on the ground, has a cosmic role. Its influence extends across the universe, shaping galaxies, orchestrating the cosmic web, and even driving the very expansion of the universe itself. So, while a world without gravity might sound like an exciting science fiction concept, it's worth remembering the profound impact this fundamental force has on our universe. As you can see, gravity plays a vital role not just on our planet, but in the entire universe. Although living in a world without gravity sounds like a fun science fiction scenario, it's not exactly ideal. Let's delve into the reasons why a world without gravity would be more challenging than exciting. In the realm of science fiction, we often encounter zero-gravity environments. Astronauts float around space stations, aliens traverse their ships with ease, and heroes leap incredible distances on far-off planets. It's a captivating image, but the reality is not as glamorous. Imagine trying to perform everyday tasks in a zero-gravity environment. Eating breakfast would turn into a floating food fight. Taking a shower would become a swirling water ballet. Even sleeping would be a balancing act, as you try not to float away from your bed. Moreover, our bodies would undergo severe changes. Without the constant pull of gravity, our muscles would weaken and our bones would lose density, leading to health problems such as muscle atrophy and osteoporosis. Our cardiovascular system would also be affected, as our hearts would no longer need to pump blood against the pull of gravity. And it's not just about humans. The entire Earth's ecosystem would be in jeopardy. Birds wouldn't be able to fly, plants wouldn't be able to grow upwards, and ocean tides, driven by the gravitational pull of the moon, would cease, drastically affecting marine life. The absence of gravity would also make Earth vulnerable to cosmic threats. With no gravity to hold our atmosphere in place, it would escape into space, leaving us exposed to harmful solar radiation. Similarly, without gravity, Earth would lose its spherical shape and instead turn into a giant blob subject to the mercy of cosmic forces. So while the idea of a world without gravity might sound like an exciting plot for a science fiction movie, it's far from an ideal reality. The potential dangers and difficulties of living in a zero-gravity environment far outweigh the thrill of floating around. So, while it's fun to imagine a world without gravity, it's safe to say we're better off with it. The concept of zero gravity gives us a lot to ponder. It's a scenario that stretches the imagination, challenging us to think beyond the familiar pull of the Earth beneath our feet. Throughout this discussion, we've delved into the importance of gravity, a fundamental force that holds our universe together. From the smallest grain of sand to the largest celestial body, gravity's invisible hands shape our reality. It's this force that gives weight to our existence, quite literally. We've also explored the concept of zero gravity, a state where this omnipresent force is seemingly absent. It's a term often used to describe the experience of astronauts in space, floating freely in their spacecraft. But remember, it's not that gravity is absent in space, it's just that the objects are falling towards the Earth at the same rate they're moving forward, creating the illusion of weightlessness. Then we imagined a world where gravity disappeared entirely. What would life on Earth be like without gravity? The answer, as we've discovered, is disconcertingly chaotic. Without gravity, there would be no atmosphere to breathe, no oceans to sail, and no stable ground to walk upon. Buildings, trees, even the very soil beneath our feet would float off into space. Life as we know it would cease to exist. We also pondered the cosmic impact of zero gravity. Without the gravitational pull of the sun, planets would drift away into the darkness of space. Stars, including our sun, would no longer have the pressure to ignite nuclear fusion, and the cosmic light show we call the universe would extinguish. Finally, we discussed the science fiction of zero gravity. While it's a popular plot device in movies and books, a world without gravity is more fantasy than reality. The laws of physics, as we currently understand them, do not allow for a complete absence of gravity. Every mass exerts a gravitational pull, however minuscule. In this exploration, we've seen that gravity, often taken for granted, is a fundamental building block of our universe. It's the invisible glue that holds everything together, from the atoms in our bodies to the galaxies in the cosmos. So next time you jump and land back on the ground, take a moment to appreciate the invisible force that keeps us grounded: gravity.